everybody to the OEFC outlet. I'm Brian Gordon, OEFC administrator, and appreciate everybody coming out here, taking a little bit of time and hearing about some of the news and happening from OEFC. Really excited about this episode. Got some really great accolades to give out and talk a little bit about something that's really, really important to me. So agenda-wise, we're going to talk about some player accolades and some player awards. Really some neat things happening with the club right now. Talk a little bit about warm-ups. I know it's 95 degrees, 98 degrees outside, but we really need to start looking at warm-ups for the winter. We know how quickly winter can sneak up on in Oklahoma. And then certainly paint the pitch pink. We've set it up last time. Talk a little bit more about the details around Paint the Pitch Pink is something that we really, really love doing every year. And then lastly, we're going to chat with Sarah McLean, founder of Project 31. As many of you know, we support Project 31 with our Paint the Pitch Pink program, and looking forward to this conversation. So let's get things started. Out of the gate, what can you say? For those of you who don't know Eli, great kid. I've had the opportunity to watch him play a couple of times, but here's the coolest thing. Texas Conference U15 ECNL Player of the Year. So let me set this up for you guys. For those of you who aren't familiar with ECNL, ECNL is one of the best programs that a club can play in, from best leagues, highest level leagues, best competition. Within that, they have different conferences around the United States. Texas Conference is probably hands down the most challenging conference within the United States. Some might say it's the conference of death, just because you have so many incredible teams and so many incredible clubs that play against each other. We're playing mostly the Dallas and Texas teams. And as you know, Dallas is just a breeding ground for excellent soccer players. Eli Berry was chosen as Player of the Year for his U15 age group within the Texas Conference. So FC Dallas, Solar, Texans, all those clubs, Eli Berry is the best player within that area. Just an amazing accolade for the kid. I love it for OEFC. Really, really amazing work that he does and brings to the field, and we are lucky as a club to be able to have him representing us. So congratulations to Eli Berry, Texas Conference U15 ECNL Player of the Year. On that same note, Texas Conference rolled out their first team, second team all-conference for 2020. We had 9 players who participated or were listed on there. So along with Eli, his teammates Hassan Ashraf, Eduardo Parra, and Azai Salazar on that U15 team were the first team players selected on that. That's great representation of OEFC. U16 first team is Gael Rojo. Wonderful kid, love his mother, just great representation for us. And then Gael's teammate Patterson Meyer made the second team. U17 first team, Jair Estrada. And then the U17 second team, Jair's teammate Jimmy Cabrera. So it's more great representation. And then lastly, in the U19 first team, Alex Angeles. So as you can see, OEFC is making their mark within the ECNL program, putting some excellent talent on the field. And again, we are lucky that they are representing OEFC. So great job, boys. Appreciate it. Can't wait to see what you guys are going to do in the 2021 and 2022 year. Staying along with accolades and just amazing players, we had 5 players in our girls program called up to the Youth National ID Center. So for those of you who may not be familiar with this, the Youth National team sets up ID centers around the United States and invites excellent players from the area to come and train and be scouted by U.S. national team coaches. It's a great honor. They're really looking for the best of the best, and we had 5 players who were selected to come attend this year's ID Center. Genevieve LaMarche from the 06 team, her teammate Riley McClanahan, and Elizabeth Passwaters all got selected from the 2006 team, and the 2007 team was Katie Johnson and Olivia Wright. So great athletes, great representation from OEFC, and a great opportunity for these girls to be able to showcase their talents and their skills in front of the U.S. national team coaches. Who knows where this will lead them, but again, OEFC is putting high quality players on the field every week, and these girls are representation of this. So congratulations, girls. Again, can't wait to see what you guys do this next year, but we are lucky to have you as part of our club. All right, moving on. Warm-ups. I know, again, it's hot. Nobody can even think about warm-ups, but weather changes quickly. I believe typically I measure it around cold coming around the last week of October. We'll see this year, but time to place orders for warm-ups is now. So you'll want to make sure to jump online and pick the tops and the bottoms. So if you remember correctly, when you ordered warm-ups from the very beginning, you went into the new online system to place your orders. So look for those emails. If you don't remember how to log in, look for those emails from Soccer USA and go through the portal there. It's the 2.0 system if you just start typing it in. Once you get there, you should be able to log in pretty quickly, and you'll see the page that you recognized before from ordering your tryout or your home and away jerseys and your training camp jerseys. What you're going to want to do is pan all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see the Trio 21 track jacket and the Trio 21 track pants. Go ahead and click on that track jacket, and it'll bring up. Make sure you select your size. Now, on your sizes, they're going to fit very similar to the warm-ups that we had last year. So you can kind of base it off of that. If you're still not sure, the warm-ups will be available. Samples will be available in both Soccer USA stores, so the one on May Avenue and the one in Edmond. So swing by there fairly shortly, try on the uniforms, pick your size, and then go online and place your orders. We'll want to get orders placed here in the next week or two so that we can get delivery by the end of the month. Some sizes, because apparel is just really challenging to get right now, are going to be back ordered to mid-October. So don't be surprised necessarily if some of your sizes don't come in until then. We're hoping, again, to get all these uniforms or all the warm-ups in before the winter turns cold, before the weather turns cold, but we'll get them in as quickly as we can. But please go ahead and place your orders soon so that you can get into the queue and make sure that you guys are getting into delivery. If you have any questions, reach out to Oscar at Soccer USA, and he can help you in any way possible. All right, Paint the Pitch Pink. Kicked off Paint the Pitch Pink this year. The system is open for orders. Again, the Paint the Pitch Pink is where we as a community go out and support the overall community in the fight against breast cancer. It's something that we're very, very passionate about, something that we've been doing for a number of years and really quite excited about it. Cool thing about this year is the t-shirt that you're seeing was designed by our 03-04 ECNL girls team. So great participation from the team. Loved having them come up with different ideas, and this is the one that we went with, and I think it's a spectacular design. And again, this year we're supporting Project 31 as we have in the past. It's been a great partnership between Project 31 and ourselves, and we're really, really excited to be able to support them again. So make sure you guys are coordinating with your soccer teams, with your managers, or if you have a designated person in your team to place those orders, make sure you're coordinating with them, because that is the one thing we were asking, is that everybody place orders as a team and not individually. And the reason why we do that is to make distribution so much easier. We're not shipping these to anybody, so we'll set up a pickup day that your manager can come by and pick up the team's t-shirts as we have in the past all at once, and then distribute at practice or a game or something like that. That's where you guys will wear these t-shirts, is at practices for the month of October and during pregame warm-up for the month of October, where we can really make a splash and paint that pitch pink. Family members, order shirts. Let's paint the sidelines pink. Your mailman, I know he wants a t-shirt, so make sure you get him one as well. Let's get as many of these t-shirts as possible and get it out there so we're painting Oklahoma pink, and that would just be amazing to us. So definitely do that. And then something new that we're going to try out this year, which I think is a really interesting, fun partnership with the pro team. So when we were talking to the pro team and telling them about Paint the Pitch Pink and what we're doing, they wanted in. They wanted to be part of it. So they are coming out with Paint Taft Pink. So on October 17th at their 5 o'clock game against Birmingham, I believe, they're going to do Paint Taft Pink. And that's where they're encouraging everybody, OEFC players, Oklahoma City Energy fans, to wear pink. Obviously, if you have been out to an Energy game, you'll be able to see their pink uniforms. I'm sure they'll be in those things. But that is really, we just want to make a splash in pink and have great representation from OEFC. And the cool thing about it, every ticket that is purchased for this Paint Taft Pink is going to contribute back to the OEFC Scholarship Fund. And within that fund, we've basically earmarked some of the scholarships to support members in our club who have family members that are going through a battle against cancer. So we want to support our own membership, and we want to use this ticket sales opportunity to be able to do that as well. It's important for us that we're supporting our own membership in times of trouble. And this is a great way that everybody can contribute. If nothing else, it'll be super cool to see everybody in pink at the game supporting our pro team. And we're talking about the possibility of doing a picture with everybody in pink on the field afterwards. So certainly something that I think everybody will want to participate in. So when you talk to your managers about getting the T-shirts, let them know if you want to get a ticket tied in with that as well. And then if you do, then we'll get the ticket orders, get with Energy, and then distribute the tickets electronically to each of the people who got their tickets. There are 2 sets of tickets that you can get. You can get a general admission ticket. That's the east side of the complex on those big metal bleachers, or the VIP ticket. That's the west side in the seat back green chairs. So I think it'd be a lot of fun. It'd be really awesome if we all could support the pro club, support our own club, and really support that fight against breast cancer. So mark it on your calendar. Go to your managers if you have any questions, and I'm sure they can come to me with any questions as well. All right, speaking of Paint the Pitch Pink, we have a special guest today. Sarah McLean is the founder of Project 31, and has been gracious enough to come by and sit down with us and tell us a little bit about Project 31. So Sarah, thank you for taking the time to meet with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, Brian.
Absolutely. So long partnership between us and you guys, really a lot of fun where we've contributed and worked together. But Project 31, for those who aren't familiar with your foundation, tell them a little bit about where it started and what you guys do.
Okay, so first I just want to say thank you to you and to OEFC. You guys have been a faithful sponsor for 6 years now. Actually, this will be our 7th year. And it's just been awesome to see the impact that we've been able to make in the community because of your support. And the one thing that I'm really grateful for, too, is that you guys are local just like we are. So there's a lot of causes that you could give to, but you've chosen to give to Project 31. And that means a lot because it goes back to our local community. But to answer your question, so I know a lot of you might not know a lot of details about breast cancer. So I just wanted to kind of give you a frame of reference. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer sometime during their lifetime. That's over 240,000 women this year alone that will be diagnosed. And unfortunately, 40,000 of those women plus, they won't win their battle with breast cancer. So there are a lot of women and families that are out there that are hurting due to this horrible disease. The thing about breast cancer, though, the way it affects women is a little bit unique in comparison to some other cancers. Unfortunately, we see in the work we do, 50% of couples oftentimes don't make it through. Their marriages don't make it through this trying time, and unfortunately that affects families too. And then also, more than 75% of breast cancer patients are going to experience some kind of depression or self-image type issue. This all came from my own personal story. So I was actually diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 26 years old. I had found a lump when I was 25, and I thought I was too young to have cancer and put it off. And then for about 7 months, it it was growing, and finally I went to the doctor, was diagnosed, and went through my first journey. I'm not realizing the emotional ramifications of going through such physical problems. None of the medical community really talked a lot about that at the time. It was in 2003, but it's considered psychosocial needs. And then fast forward a couple of years, I found myself in a pretty deep depression because I didn't know how to cope with all the emotions that came with that. Thankfully, my husband and I were connected to a psychologist who helped me understand what I was feeling was really normal for cancer patients. And it really just gave me a passion to want to come alongside other survivors and their families because of the way that it had affected my husband and I. I just thought people need to have resources available to them. They need to have that emotional support that oftentimes we're not receiving. And so initially, I started off, I wanted just to raise money to send survivors and their families to therapy because we are so financially depleted with our treatments. You're not able to work full time, but sometimes it can't be a priority that it really should be. And so the idea came to let's start a nonprofit. So Steve and I took money out of our savings and we got established as a 501c3. And I started doing little gatherings just to raise some money. And from there, I thought, okay, well, how am I going to connect with patients because of a HIPAA law? I can't just call an oncology office or an imaging center.
Right.
And so I started thinking through ideas of a way to bridge the gap, and I came up with this idea that we call a Handles with Care, which is basically a care package that we were able to offer to survivors as a way to connect with them and have a relationship. So really our goal is the restoration of the survivor and their family, not only physically but emotionally and spiritually too, because we just believe in holistic healing. And the way we do that is by embracing them, equipping them, and empowering them. So some of the ways that we embrace patients obviously are through our care packages. And then several years later, from 2003 to 2011, I kept doing self-exams because I knew that I had done a double mastectomy, but I knew that they couldn't get every microscopic cell. And so I was just trained to be able to do the self-exams, and I noticed a spot over here on my skeletal wall, and I thought maybe it was scar tissue, kind of pushed it off, and ended up going for my annual exam, and they asked me how long that I had noticed it was there, and I said, I don't know, maybe 6 months or so. We ended up doing an MRI and unfortunately found out that I had cancer again. It was a different form of breast cancer, but it didn't take the sting of those words away. And so for me, it really just solidified in my heart and mind the need for our mission. And so from there, I was contacted by the imaging center where I was diagnosed, and they asked me if I would consider leading a peer support group. Thankfully, they were intuitive enough to know that it would probably be more impactful and successful if a peer group was led by a survivor rather than a social worker or a nurse navigator. And from there, I really didn't know if I could do it, didn't know if I had the emotional capacity, and just prayed about it and really felt like that was where God was leading me. And so I said yes, and at that time, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just kind of creating an environment where people could come and share their hearts and know that they're not alone and that we would support them along the way. And from there, I started to meet different doctors and different experts in the field that were willing to come and help educate these women. Because as patients, unfortunately, we don't know what we don't know. I'm sure, Brian, you've experienced that.
Yeah, you go into it with so many questions and so many unknowns, and Google is just not your friend, unfortunately, because you get out there and you start getting into some of the weeds or in a tangent, and all of a sudden you're more scared than when you got on the computer. And so, just to have people who the information that you're confident the information is correct on is invaluable.
And you've been there. And the thing is that the medical community does a wonderful job, and we just come alongside them and help collaborate in that process of healing. And I think as patients, we're able to speak a different language. Some of the things they might recommend could be right, but the way it affects you on the other side of certain decisions, you wouldn't know unless you are a patient. And so that's where we're really able to bring a different voice into the conversation. And so basically we started leading a support group, and it was great. I mean, I think a lot of people were benefiting from it, but then it started to grow from there. And over several years, we started to expand across Oklahoma. not only in the metro area. We had 5 different hospitals that we collaborate with to provide peer support groups, but then we are in 2 different hospitals in Tulsa. We have one in Enid, one in Stillwater, and prior to COVID, we were about to launch in Ardmore. And really, the goal is to raise up a team of women who've been there, and we're just replicating our process and our model of providing the peer support. So the way that that looks is women will come once a month to the hospital, usually where they're diagnosed, because that's where they feel safest, and then we will have a different speaker. So we're always assessing the needs of the patients coming through. For example, it might be a plastic surgeon, it might be an oncologist, it might be an acupuncturist, it might be a physical therapist. So helping educate them on tools that might be available to them that they maybe hadn't heard otherwise, because a lot of times as a patient, you're navigating this whole world on your own.
Absolutely.
There's not a navigator, nurse navigator, or a social worker at every hospital, so it's hard. You're trying to piece this puzzle together, and you could have been maybe had some better options if you would have known that things were available. So throughout the years now, we've had thousands of women come through our support groups, but also the way that we are unique is that we are passionate about the family. So this affects you, Brian, it affects the husbands, it affects our children as well. And so we bring in therapists that help just talk about communication, talk about grief, and we have, my husband's very involved, and so he helps speak to the men, the way that it affects them as our takers. And you guys oftentimes don't have a lot of support because you're caring for us, and so we want to make sure that we're helping meet that need as well. And then with children too, like Brian and I were talking earlier, this is a great initiative that OEFC is offering to be able to provide scholarships so children can continue soccer, playing something that they love, to keep that sense of normalcy for them in the place of this trauma that their family's going through. And so I just wanted you guys to be aware of what you're raising money for. A lot of times people don't even know what these pink shirts are for, and it's fun to wear a pink shirt out there in October, but it really is supporting a cause that you guys are making a true impact in lives. And so I wanted you to see my face and to thank Brian for giving me the opportunity to share the story, because you're really making a difference, even if you don't know it, that this money goes back to helping these women where they can go to therapy, they can attend support groups, they can have support that they maybe wouldn't otherwise have. Sometimes our friends and family, they support on a certain level, but then we need that voice of the survivor where maybe we need to share fears that we have that we wouldn't want to share with our children, because that's, we don't want to scare them, but we still need that outlet. And so we're really grateful. Unfortunately, some women don't make it through, but we're there for their families on the other side of this as well, able to offer them therapy on the other side of the journey sometimes. And so there's a lot of leeway in between. We see stage 0s to stage 4s, but you're making an impact across the board. And so I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you to you for your willingness, for your continued faithfulness. And if you have anybody that you know that has gone through breast cancer or is diagnosed that needs some kind of support, please send them our way. Our website is project31.com, and feel free to contact me directly. Brian has my information. We can get that to you at a later time. But we just wanted you to be aware of services that we offer and what you guys are doing in the community. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and again, folks, this is the greatest thing about this, is that we're able to support communities that we live in here. This is not just something that's being sent somewhere for research, somewhere, to another area. This is impacting the people that we love and that we live around. And so, and this is a way that people aren't used to seeing it. I mean, this is thinking outside the box and supporting the people during and after they've gone through this battle. And so this is a great way for us as OEFC to contribute back and give back to the families that give so much to us. So get out there, get your Paint the Pitch Pink t-shirts. Let's wear them with pride as we do every year. And then, really get together to support the cause. Sarah, thank you so much for your time. I mean, again, your message is just incredible. It hits home with many, many, many people. And, the things that you are doing are just phenomenal. And we love the fact that we can do this together.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Brian.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. All right, guys. Do want to take a moment to say thank you to our sponsors, Provision Concepts, orthodontic specialists of Oklahoma, Squirrel TV, and then of course Mercy Sports Medicine. We can't do the things that we want to do here and provide the programming that we want to do here without your support. Love it. Anybody who wants to become a sponsor, we have lots of opportunities. I have a showcase coming up that we would love to have some sponsorship around as well. And obviously you guys impact the lives of kids that are playing in your community as well. So thank you very much to our club sponsors. With that, we'll wrap it up. Again, guys, thank you for taking the time to watch the video. Hopefully you found it informative. I know that I did. And we'll continue to try to bring these informational videos out to you in the future as well to keep you up with what's going on in the club. Otherwise, guys, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on the pitch.